Hi, everybody. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that we are going to be talking about a real case with a real murder victim. Of course, we're talking about JonBenet Ramsey or JonBenet Ramsey. Guys, please be cautious. Even though this story has been out there for 25 years, there is still many disturbing things about this story. So, I don't know if I explained this well in the first video, but I'm trying to do these videos off of my memory, and I'll do the best that I can because I want to show you what kind of 25 years worth of a case in somebody's memory can do. All right, so heed that trigger warning, guys. If it's time for you to jump off, it's okay. I will see you on the next one. All right, thanks. Hi, Crystal Balls. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please think about sticking around, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Guys, don't forget that this means the world to us little YouTubers as well as mom and pop places, your friends that are hustling, and trust me, they are hustling. Go spread the love, spread the cheer, spread the karma. Take 30 seconds out of your day. It's all free. I also want to take a moment to thank my Patreons, guys. I forgot to send out a Merry Christmas. So watch Patreon, my special Patreons, to see a surprise for you. Okay, so we are getting back into the JonBenet Ramsey case today. And as I said before, I'm doing most of this by memory because I want to kind of show you even the conflicts in my own mind of the things that have happened with this case. And yeah, it's 25 years worth of memories, but it's 25 years worth of memories that I have for some strange reason. And so much has changed, even to the day-to-day business, even in the beginning, everything has changed, and you hear completely different stories now than you did back then, but you also find out that some of this stuff never actually happened. It's odd. It is so incredibly odd. So again, a little trigger warning. We're talking about this murder case, and it's bad. It's really, really bad. So last time I kind of went over the ransom note and how it's not necessarily impossible to have a large ransom note like that, because there have been very large ransom notes in other famous cases, including the Charles Lindbergh kidnapping. But I also believe that, yeah, I believe that Patsy Ramsey wrote the note, but I don't believe she did it of her own free volition. I believe she did it under duress, and I believe that she was fearing for her life when she did that. Again, don't believe Burke had anything to do with it. I do believe that her parents, mostly her dad, is responsible for this, even though I don't know if he necessarily was the one that killed her. We also went over this huge gap in time where if you are trusting John Ramsey, then even that, the narrative is strange, because you're trusting that John Ramsey took his daughter up to bed, tucked her in, and that was it, even though you can see evidence of things in a household like a snack that showed that that probably didn't happen. JonBenet also wet the bed that night, so it's not like this kid went straight to bed and stayed in bed all night. So a lot there. 911 call was made, obviously, about 5:30 in the morning. Cops showed up, but so did everybody else. So Patsy Ramsey called all of her friends and had them come over. Now, in this kidnapping note, it did say two things. Don't go to the police, and don't grow a brain, John, like in Speed. So they called the police and all of their friends. Now, to put devil's advocate out there, if that was me, if that was my child, I probably would still call the police because, you know, I don't know for sure. That's something that nobody should ever have to think about. So I want whatever happened, but I also know if something horrible happened to me, meaning, well, no, it'd be me. But yeah, if my child was missing, I would call my friends. I don't know if I would necessarily have them come over though. I might have one. I might have one come over depending on, you know, the location and things like that. Because I love my friends all across the United States and all the world. So yeah, I probably would want a friend with me. But she had the whole brigade come. Like, so many people came in this house, and the whole crime scene was not controlled in the least. And police came, they didn't secure the scene. There were many people already handling the note. So, you know, disruption of evidence. And at this time, they're only looking at a kidnapping. There is no reason at this point for them to believe that JonBenet has been murdered. There is a ransom demand, and I don't think I've ever known that any attempt to get the money was ever made. Because they had a long list, the kidnappers had a long list of demands, including putting a $118,000 and, you know, whatever bills and things that they specified into an, I think they call it etouffee. I don't know, freaking bag for all I know. Which the kidnapper spelled right, BTW. Other words they spelled wrong. The kidnapper who wrote the ransom note spelled that right, but they spelled other words completely wrong. Stream of conscious, 25 years. So I don't know if there was any actual movement to go get this money. This is why the kidnapping doesn't make any sense at all. They never should have gone with that angle. It was unrealistic. I don't know if they were planning on moving JonBenet's body later or what, but you wouldn't leave a half-assed attempt of a kidnapping and have a child in the basement that is dead, that is deceased, and you still trying to get ransom out of these people. The thing about kidnapping is an exchange. Money, person. They didn't have the person. You know, nothing. She was deceased in her basement. So police did a cursory glance at the house. And when I say a cursory glance, this place is huge. They have so many rooms in their house that they don't use them. And it is kind of a maze. And apparently, the police were right there. If they would have turned around and opened a door, the whole story would have been different. Nobody knows why the police officer who was going through the house didn't stop and open the door down in the basement, because JonBenet's body was supposedly there at that moment. I'm assuming it was, just because of everything else, but why didn't he stop and check? Now, I've heard since then that that room was locked and nobody could get into it, or the room was blocked, like had suitcases and stuff in front of it, so it didn't look like it was disturbed. It didn't matter. You should have figured out a way to get into that place. That was probably the only place in the house that you did not get to. And it's also incredibly suspicious that when the police officer, the female police officer, and I can't remember her name, who was left to babysit them, a very unexperienced police officer who was literally left to babysit an impossible situation where security was already breached, like their whole crime scene was breached, everything was wrong. They didn't have somebody else there with her in order to help her through this situation. So very little things happen like this in Boulder, Colorado, that they did not have experts that were able to help with kidnappings and things like that. They had to get the FBI involved, which makes sense. However, they should not have left a single officer by herself to try to control a household full of people who are going everywhere and touching everything and, this, that, and the other. Now, one of the things that this police officer said that was very odd is the time that the kidnappers said in the ransom note came and went without any sort of fanfare. So I don't remember the exact time, but let's say it's 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. comes along and nobody reacts. Nobody is like, it's 10 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock, where's the phone call? Where's the phone call? What's going to happen? Oh my God, did we screw up by calling the police? Is my baby going to be okay? Nothing like that happened. Nothing. There was no call for instructions. There was no call for anything of the sort. There was just a room full of people who did not mark that significant moment with any sort of reaction. There are reasons why I believe that the people in the household, the friends, didn't believe that JonBenet was kidnapped. I believe that they had a very good idea of what actually had happened to that child because they run in the same circle. It's very unfortunate, but some of the company that you keep reflects the person that you are. And I don't necessarily think that John Ramsey was the best person and he kept the best company. Just a theory. So the police officer, the female police officer, was seeing that everybody was agitated and gave John and another guy a task of going and re-looking to see if anything was missing, anything looked strange, was anything stolen, anything like that. Instead of going through the household with him like she should have, she sent John and a friend to do this on their own, which resulted in John going directly to the basement, directly to the room the police officer missed, opened the door, and found JonBenet's body there. And continued to, make poor decisions and pick JonBenet up, take her upstairs, put a blanket over her, all of these things that he was doing. He completely destroyed a crime scene. He handling of the body completely was destroying evidence on her. He was contaminating her. He should have screamed and asked people to come to him. That would have changed everything if that would have happened, but I don't think he was that stupid. I think he disturbed the crime scene on purpose. I believe that he picked up his daughter not out of a grief-stricken father, but a man who was on purpose trying to disrupt a crime scene and take her upstairs. It was obviously very clear that JonBenet was dead at that point. So there was no hope of resurrection or CPR or anything like that. Rigor mortis had already set in. So that is telling me that she had been there for many hours. And the police officer apparently had a moment where she didn't believe any of them would get out there alive because she believed she was looking at John Ramsey, the killer, and thought everything was going to go to hell. And she even counted as many bullets as she had in her holster because of this moment of premonition that she had. And I'm not going to dismiss that from her because I believe that that is what she believed in that moment. And seeing the interview with her, looking into her eyes, her body language, everything tells me that that is what she believed in that moment of time. That her life and everybody else's life in that room was in danger. So now we officially have a murder case with a scene that is full of people touching everything, touching the ransom note, touching JonBenet, touching everything. We have JonBenet's complete crime scene where she was at, disturbed by taking her out of it. I believe that John took off the garrote that was around JonBenet that was made up of Patsy Ramsey's broken tool brush and things like that. And I say that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Although it's incredibly odd that if they were actually staging a kidnapping, why would they kill the kid? You know, again, the story doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. There should not have been any sort of kidnapping. I really do feel like the kidnapping was a ruse in order to say the child is missing and then do something about the murder later. I don't believe JonBenet was killed there. I believe she was brought there. But I feel like there are several people who know exactly what happened to her. And I know I've said this before, but I really, really believe that there are several people. I don't think Patsy ever knew for sure what happened, but I believe she understood that her husband was involved. I don't believe Burke knows anything that happened. I want you guys again to remember that this kid was a victim. And because he appeared on a Dr. Phil show and looked unsocial and was laughing and smiling at inappropriate times, you've got to realize that this child at 9 years old had his entire world rocked. Entire world. He saw the body of his sister. He saw horrible things. And I believe that there was a certain level of abuse happening to both Burke and JonBenet. I believe that their parents were neglectful to them. And I also believe that Burke never got the appropriate help that he needed. You stop maturing at certain points. This is a huge traumatic event. This could have split his personality. This could have done whatever. But the person that you are seeing that Burke presents to the world is somebody that is not him. This is a raw form of him as a child speaking to people. He doesn't understand human interaction, and it's a shame. I know that he's been accused of murder and hurting his sister, and that is horrible. And what kind of life did this kid have? He was in the spotlight from the time that his sister went missing and then murdered. I mean, obviously she was murdered already, but think about what that did to that kid. There's also such a thing as survivor's guilt. He survived. Why did he survive? Why did his sister die? You know, it's just, I want people to lay off on the poor kid. I just wish people would lay off on the poor kid because he's already had enough damage in his life. So I think in this video, we've pretty much accomplished that the kidnapping, I believe, was a complete afterthought. The entire scene was messed up from the beginning. They left a woman, I mean, again, it has nothing to do with her being a woman, but they left a female police officer who was very unexperienced on a scene by herself with several people to control in a household that was huge. That was stupid. They couldn't spare one extra officer. And if I'm right, there was something else that happened, a fire or something that other police officers and things had to respond to, but they could have left another police officer. This was an active kidnapping case. Like, that's a huge deal. So big that they really didn't have anything to compare it to in Boulder at that point. So you left a single person who is very unexperienced in charge of this household. And what happened? The house was chaos. The crime scenes were destroyed. The evidence was destroyed. JonBenet was handled. All of this was a huge mistake. And I think some of this was done on purpose, not by the police officer, but for the people who let her in charge. All right, so that is going to be it for me and Sunny today. Excuse me while she, kind of stands here, but all right, so Sunny and I love you. And we all hope that you have a good day or night wherever you are in this world. Remember that every single day is a gift. You always need a puppy break. Use your time wisely. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.